Okay, so it froze again, and I was pretty much ready to give up on it. But I just let it sit there for a while, and it seems to have recovered? I don't know. Chalk 280 radio check.
Chalk 280, you are loud and clear.
No, we'll see. It's still going, so we'll see if it's going to let us continue or not. I don't know what's going on with this stuff. I really don't. So this video, whenever it's saved, is going to be a mess. I don't know if I can stitch this together in YouTube or not. I'm not going to go edit it if I can't. It is what it is. And I also forgot to launch the other freaking app. God damn it. Whoa. Sorry about that. So I'm surprised, I'm concerned that ATC has not yet told us to increase our altitude. Well, that's okay, I guess. We can fly, whatever. We'll just, I mean, honestly, at this point, I just want to fly and not have to worry about anything. It does look gorgeous in VR, it really does. I'm really hoping that Asobo will have some sort of optimization patch in the near future. It just needs a little bit more love and care. Because it's so good. One thing I didn't do is I did not set my fuel properly before we started, so we're going to have to keep an eye on it. If we're actually able to continue flying, we're going to have to keep an eye on. I don't know, I'm worried that this mountain range ahead of it is going to be pretty high, so... Chalk 280 requesting flight level 12. Chalk 280 radio check.
Chalk 280 negative. Your requested altitude is below the minimum for your route. Climb and maintain flight level 060. Chalk 280 you are loud and clear.
Climb and maintain flight level 060, Chalk 280. I mean, I wanted 12. 6, I guess, is fine, I hope. Actually, yeah, I think we're gonna graze that mountain range there. It's a bit higher to our side. I think we might actually be okay sneaking through at 6,000 the whole way, even though I did plan it for 12. I'm just not entirely sure if, with the many restarts I had to do here, I'm not entirely sure if pilot to ATC is fully current with my flight plan or not. Going through the clouds in VR is spectacular. It's incredible. So, how far to our next waypoint? 50 nautical miles? Okay, so that's not too bad. This white flickering is, I don't know what that, I think that's an Oculus thing. Nvidia also has an update coming soon to its drivers that apparently will fix some VR stuttering that has been around forever. It's not something I've actually noticed, but any sort of driver updates that will improve VR are welcome in my book. That mountain tip over there is definitely taller than what we want to be flying over, but it's off to the side and our path takes us pretty much just past that, so we should be okay here. I think. I mean, we're gonna find out there's a lot of clouds there, so... Hopefully we're not going to end up on the side of a mountain. That would be a real shame. Part of me wants to change the heading a little bit, but you know, I mean... It's an adventure. We're going to trust ATC, and I'm sure that's probably the last time I say that, but we're going to do it anyway. Oh no, like on our artificial elevation there, it looks, we're totally fine. Looking out the window in actual, like with my own eyes, it seems like we want to be higher or further to the left, but I think what the real problem is this cloud cover in front of me, I can't see. So we're gonna have to trust our instruments, I guess. So the one thing I have noticed is that when the game freezes like it did, that my GPU actually stops doing work altogether. So it's not like it's trying to do stuff and can't send it over or something. It's like it stops trying to do things entirely. Sorry if things are a little bit shaky here. I have a terrible itch on the bridge of my nose. I have to adjust the headset to get my finger in there and scratch it. Those clouds are mountain peaks coming through the clouds. It's got to be just clouds, nothing tall ahead of us. But man, it is frightening seeing these hills beside us here, and then just clouds. And I guess we just have to trust that we can get through there. So we're just gonna surf on top of these clouds here. I'm such a chicken, I want more altitude. Chalk 280 requesting 12,000 feet.
Chalk 280 climb and maintain flight level 120.
Climb and maintain flight level 120, Chalk 280. I just don't have it in me. I had flight level 12. I had 12,000 feet planned. Because I checked the charts and we should be flying higher, and I think it's just because the flight plan is not quite filed properly because of all the various restarts to get this thing going, this trip. So, but the good thing about this is we can just ask ATC for that 12,000 and get her done that way. Doing weird things, or do we just have some strange winds here? I think we have some weird crosswinds here. Which makes sense because we were flying over pretty, like, right above these mountains here, and that's usually where the air gets pretty choppy. So hopefully once we get up to 12,000 feet it'll be a little bit more smooth anyway. I think it's going to be a bit of a bumpy ride because I think we're flying along the coast this whole time pretty much, and I think most of the coast is quite mountainous here. Part of me wonders if our earlier issues are related to that. Like, I wrote a little app, a very simple app that would read my Twitch chat and then send new messages into the flight simulator as a message. And in my testing it works totally fine, but and there was no actual Twitch messages, so it wasn't even sending anything. But I wonder if that just caused, if that was the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak, because I've had no, aside from like the very rare hourglass delay, I've had no freezing issues like that in the past. So I just wonder if maybe that's what the problem was, which is a bummer because it means that I still have to figure out a way to read chat better. I'm leaning towards, honestly, just putting it on my phone or something and reading it through the gap by my nose in the headset. I mean, I can put, last time I put a chat window into the cockpit, which worked fine, except that I didn't realize until afterwards, for some reason, the chat window itself was not actually displaying chat messages. It was very weird. So, it seems like I'm starting to think that the app I built is actually causing the whole freezing that we experienced earlier, which is too bad. Maybe I have to look at the code again and see if there was something stupid in there that it was doing, but... There's quite a bit of terrain to our left. Unfortunately, we can't see any of it because it's so cloudy right now. So much cloud cover here. But we can see on the MFD there's quite a reasonably tall mountain range to our left. Just out the window here. And you know, as much as I've enjoyed island hopping in the Caribbean, I am kind of looking forward to getting somewhere else and seeing something else. I'm really excited about South America. Turn our landing lights off. There's no need to have those on now that we're above 10,000 feet. We're flying with live weather though, so this is just what it is. Pretty large city beneath us here. Beautiful down there. So, what do we got? Only 4.5 minutes till the next waypoint. There's a few smaller waypoints here, but closer, like less distance between them. Still, it's fairly, probably got another hour of flight left. Not sure. ETA 2039. Oh, that's the ETA to this next waypoint, so that's not helpful. So the one thing we're going to have to keep in mind when we get down to our actual approach into Venezuela, that we'll probably have to make up our own descent. I have a feel. I don't think that pilot ATC is tracking us at the moment. We were basically just free flying here without ATC supervision, which is unfortunately. I wonder if I could still do that. Chalk 280 request IFR release.
Chalk 280, this is Biarco Tower on 118.1. Please repeat your request.
Yeah, we're on the tower. Like, there's no way that's correct. Chalk 280 ready for IFR clearance.
Chalk 280, your flight plan seems to be out of date.
Yeah.
Please file a new one and call back for clearance.
Chalk 280, cancel IFR. Yeah, we're not even on IFR 5. Okay, well, so ATC is not going to be of any help to us. So hopefully I have remembered something about when we need to descend. And to be honest, I really haven't. I have no idea what altitude our destination airport is at. So we're going to have to make this up as we go. The only good thing is that we have the course programmed into the flight management system. I'm really tempting fate here, I think, by even clicking on anything. Okay. Okay, well, it's 200 feet. At Donta, we need to be at 7,000. Okay, well, that's, you know what? That's all right. We have some guidance anyway. We'll make it work. We still have quite a ways to go, but we'll make it work. Got a couple of smaller islands over there. Well, I mean, all these clouds are definitely impacting performance a little bit. So the other thing that's new is I purchased an Oculus Quest 2 Elite strap. And it is much more of a pain to put this thing on my head now because it's more rigid, but it is far more comfortable once you've actually got it on your head. It is easier to adjust. It seems to be much more balanced. It's got a battery pack built in the back, so it gives it a little bit of counterweight to the back of your head. So that definitely makes a difference. So I think it's probably well worth it. I've seen lots of reports of it cracking for people. I'm kind of hoping that it won't happen to me because I'm not really, I'm not really moving around with it. I'm just kind of sitting here with it on my head. So hopefully it's not going to sustain any sort of stress fractures or something like that. But I guess only time will tell. That's really the only way to find out. But it is much more comfortable to wear this way. Let's have a look outside. Look at this scenery. Beautiful. I also think I managed to turn off the, for some reason in the last video, which I haven't actually published yet, I should do that. For some reason it looks like HDR was on. on the Nvidia Shield, which I used to capture the gameplay from the Oculus Quest 2. And you would think, oh, cool, HDR, except no. HDR on anything that is not actually an HDR display looks like hot poo-poo. It's just super bright and just not very nice. And unfortunately, there's like there's not a button on the Shield or functionality to turn HDR off. And the Elgato 4K 60, which I'm recording this with, seems to try to remember whatever the setting was last. And for some reason, I had my other Windows PC sending HDR to it, which was also not what I wanted. But it seemed like it was stuck in that last time, and I didn't actually think about paying attention to it. It didn't even occur to me. But I think I fixed that now. Let's this mouse, it's super annoying. I'm using a wireless mouse so I can reach it better, but it just doesn't work. For some reason, it has a real hard time staying connected. So this is the rest of our flight plan. We're going to go over the water there for a bit, and then we're going to swing around. So we are actually avoiding what I call the high elevations, but we'll stay at 12,000 feet to stay safe. It's nice and smooth up here for the most part. Got a little bit of a tailwind, which is nice. So these waypoints are all spaced about 5 or so minutes apart. So nothing too crazy. I'm surprised the sun is still this high in the sky. Oh, well, I guess we are fairly close to the equator. I shouldn't be too surprised. Mouse cursor, you get away from the throttle control. That is a dangerous place for you to be. You be over there. So yeah, the longer this flight continues without any freezing, the more I am tempted to believe that, unfortunately, the culprit was this custom little app I wrote, which is really disappointing, because it was going to be really cool. Like, it inserts Twitch messages right into the simulator. Not good for people with a lot of viewers and chatters, but that's not me. I only ever get like 2 or 3 people talking, and it's difficult with a VR headset, and I'll have to look into some other options. There has to be a better way. Usually just popping a window in from the desktop, I feel like that would work well, but it's been hit and miss for me, and it's kind of annoying. So I'll probably just use that again next time I fly. Seems to be like the most straightforward way of doing it. And this new USB cable that I bought for the Quest 2 has been pretty solid. I'm pretty happy with it, actually. Works better than the official Oculus Link cable, but I believe the culprit there is not the cable itself, but rather the USB-C port. I've got an Asus TUF Gaming Pro Wi-Fi X570 motherboard or something like that, and it's good, but it only has one USB-C port, and it seems like it's really crappy, that port. Like, the cable barely seems to socket in there properly, and it's not good. Sorry, I was going to shake my head, but that's not really very nice when that's in my VR headset. Now I'm bummed that we don't have ATC working properly, but I was too frustrated to get it all working right, I guess. And it's one of these days we'll have a flight that doesn't have any sort of technical issues. I have faith that it will happen at some point. That's a nice view. I love how in the cockpit the characters' heads slowly move and look around like they would. Like I tend to do when I'm sitting here. I sort of keep an eye on the horizon and just keep my eyes open. The other unfortunate thing is we're not going to be able to talk to the tower. We're literally just going to have to fly our route and land when we get there. It's actually quite cold up here, but I don't think we're going to have any icing issues yet. It's 6 degrees. We should keep an eye on that, just in case if we have to go through some clouds at this altitude, it might get a bit chilly. I just had a quick glance at the flight stats at the top of the stream there, and judging by that, it looks like we have about 20 minutes to go, 25 minutes to go. Don't know how accurate that is. UTC's 2053 in the simulator, and I believe the stream, the Fly Live studio stats say that we arrived around 21:18. I guess it's more closer to half an hour, 25 minutes, half an hour. We're going to be flying an ILS approach, even though, again, without ATC, I mean, we've got it programmed in, we should be able to deal with the autopilot. I just got to get it to the proper altitude at the proper time, which should be doable. We'll be fine. I just want to have a successful end to this flight after such a horrendous start to the flight. this is a bit of a longer leg now, almost 10 minutes, but that takes us, I believe, to our star. Pretty much, that's when we're going to start swinging around. And making our loop around the coastline, basically. It's interesting, actually, because there's quite a lot of terrain around our destination airport. So we'll see how that goes. Should be scenic, at least. It should be fun to look at, as long as we don't fly into anything. I feel like the game audio is a bit loud. There we go, that might be even just a tiny tad better. Stretch in the cockpit. 20 minutes to go, I think. Even though that might be based on a direct line to our airport, we're obviously going to have to fly an approach. So that probably adds a little bit of time. Guessing closer to half an hour until we touch down. So Manso is when we are going to be descending. So basically, once we get to Netsea, which is, I think, that's the actual approach, the arrival waypoint, we're going to start tweaking our altitude and getting ourselves into a good position for an approach into, I think it's San Bolivar International Airport or something like that. And eventually we are going to go visit some more of these small Caribbean island nations, I believe. I think if I remember correctly from my planning of this world tour, is we're basically going to go along the north coast of South and Central America, and then I think we're going to do like a loop back through some of the Caribbean islands and then down the east coast of South America, before we eventually make like a really long hop over the Atlantic to Africa. That is going to be super exciting when we head over there. For those of you that want some variety, on Thursday night I'll be streaming for Shack News at twitch.tv/Shack News, and I believe this time we're going to be flying in New Zealand. Not in VR though, because with a larger channel and a larger audience, can't really get away with these hour-long delays of getting started that I have to constantly deal with. But I feel quite confident that I figured out what the problem was, and it's a real bummer, but that's okay. At least we know. Alright, 4.5 minutes to our Charlie Bravo Charlie waypoint. So we'll look outside the window here to the back. Actually looks like we have some weather ahead of us that looks like more than just some fluffy clouds. It looks like some rain. Some of those are a little bit darker gray. Do we dare have a look at the weather radar? No, actually I don't want to mess with those buttons right now. I want to keep it on where I can see the altitude, but I mean there's obviously lots of clouds there. This could be an interesting approach without ATC. Then again, if you use the like the regular in-game ATC, it's not very useful. It basically just tells you to do exactly what you have programmed into your flight plan. So not much of a point in that. The only thing I guess it does is it tells you it passes you along the various centers and controllers, and occasionally tells you to change altitude. But also that's just based on your flight plan. So I mean we have that information here. I just need to follow what I've got planned. It's the benefit of planning all this stuff in something like Navigraph ahead of time, is that I'm always pretty confident that this flight plan is going to get me to where I need to go. Most of the time pilot to ATC is just a hindrance in that, but it adds something to the atmosphere that I miss when it's not running. Like right now it's not doing anything, we're not getting instructions, we're not being passed over to different controllers, and I do feel like missing out a little bit on that, but that's okay. I am not willing to pop out of VR to fix it. It's not worth it. I'm just happy that we're flying. The only unfortunate thing is that it looks like the current weather conditions here in Venezuela are not going to give us much of a view of the coastal mountains here. But such is life. I mean, I could fly these all with clear skies, but kind of want to get some semblance of realism in there. Pardon the yawning. It's almost 8:30 my time. I mean, I'm an old man. I'm getting sleepy. It's also been a very long day. Hope everybody out there is finding their footing in 2021. So far it's much the same, but I hope everybody's staying safe and able to hang in there. See, these clouds, those look like rain clouds. There's some rain underneath us for sure. Looks like we're gonna skirt on over top of most of these, and then we're gonna swing a little bit to the right in that direction, and we'll see how thick these clouds are, how long it's going to take until we get through them. This could make for an interesting bit of flying inside the cloud cover here. We will see. We've got probably about 8 minutes or so before we actually start changing our altitude in any significant way. I'm going to turn to the right here towards Tinal and Netsi, and then really by Manso we just have to get a little bit lower, not very much, basically just 1,100 feet. Ooh, sometimes when the airplane banks like this, I do feel it in my head, like the virtual reality actually does give me a bit of a sense of being sideways, just a bit of an angle. See, there's some of the coastline right here and some of the very green and lush mountains. You can see a lot of rain on the slopes. That makes sense. Oh, and it looks like our... Okay, so if we have a look at this... SVMI is our destination airport, and it looks like it's actually right on the coastline. So it is... We're going to have the mountains to our right when we land. But it is right by the water, so that should actually be a... Hopefully. Honestly, I'm thinking with the clouds and everything, it's going to be really pretty. Unless, of course, we just get stuck inside the clouds the whole time. We'll see. Nice view. I love the reflections. I don't know how well that comes across in the stream, but I mean the visuals are a fair bit better in my headset than on the stream. I just have not found a good way to actually stream the VR content. What I'm doing right now is it's streaming from the headset into an Nvidia Shield wirelessly, so it's Chromecasting basically. This would work with any other Chromecast as well. So obviously the picture quality of that, since it is being cast wirelessly, is not so great. The alternative to that is using the Oculus Mirror software, which is what I was using initially. And that makes a lot more sense to use that because the quality of it is a fair bit higher, but it's super shaky. I don't know why, and I should probably revisit it again at some point and check if it's still like that, but it is very shaky. Like the picture is not stable and smooth at all. And when I was rewatching some of the recordings I made using Oculus Mirror, I was like, this is not very good to watch. It's not at all smooth. So I think at this point I would rather have a little bit more smoothness for you guys to watch in the stream or the video than higher quality, but like this shakiness that was just not pleasant to watch. So, and that's with the recommended settings from Oculus, so I'm not sure if that is an issue with... I think it seems like it's just an issue because I've seen other people who have the same complaints about it. So honestly what it comes down to is that VR makes everything more complicated. Just playing, streaming it, recording it, all of it is 2 to 3 times more complex and difficult and error prone and problematic than just doing it in 2D. But selfishly, the experience for me in the cockpit in VR is far superior to it being in 2D. So, you know, and quite frankly, it's not like I have a huge audience of people watching me, so this is mostly, I'm flying these for myself. The main reason I'm streaming it and recording it is so that I have a record of it, I guess, and occasionally a couple of friends come and stop by. So, you know, it is what it is. Hopefully at some point some of these things will improve and get better, and we've got a lot of countries left to visit, and I expect that Flight Simulator 2020 is going to be around for a long time. And the technology, both VR and just general computer hardware-wise, is going to keep improving over the years. So it's the compromises will not always be as big of an issue as they are at the moment, but you know, compromises they are nevertheless. Okay, so we've got a lot of time here basically to lose 1,000 feet. We literally have almost 6 minutes to drop down to 10,800. So we're going to do this super casually. We're going to have like the lowest, we're just going to do 300 feet a minute. A very nice and relaxed descent to our first waypoint of our approach here. And are we quite... we can't quite see the airport yet, but you can see that the clouds are not super low, which is good because we'll probably get through them. In fact, ahead of us there, it's almost clear skies, so we shouldn't really have much of an issue with the cloud cover, which is excellent. Looks like most of the heavy clouds are on the mountains at the coastline, so I think we're going to avoid it, and we're going to have like a very beautiful approach into the airport here in Venezuela. So we're going to be heading somewhere over there. Every time I make this little motion here, I apologize. I'm just peeking through the nose piece to see, just in case if anybody's in the chat, which nobody is. I know that, but that's fine. But every time that I don't check, somebody comes by. And I've never been a fan of streamers who somehow manage to miss when somebody says hi, especially small streamers. It's like if you don't have a big audience, you know, and somebody comes and says hi, you should pay attention and say hi. So if you've ever come in here and said hi and I ignored you, it's unfortunately because I haven't been able to see you in VR. Like I said, I'm still looking for a proper solution to this. Oh no, don't do this, no. See, this is usually how I have had an experience with the hourglass freezing, that it's for like a second or two. Not earlier where it was, I think, probably for like a solid 3 minutes. The only reason I hadn't shut down the game at that point or killed the process is because I was just doing something else, and I was like, fine, I'll just let this sit here and stew and see if we can't make this work. I'll have to find out. Maybe it's because I'm pushing too many pixels through this. I don't know. I am kind of running this at some pretty high settings, but it's working for the most part, and I do have the horsepower to do it. I mean, I gotta do something with this RTX 3090. I have to challenge it in some way. Everything else it just kind of laughs at. It's a nice river going out into the Gulf of Mexico here. Trying to see if I can spot the airport. It's probably on that small peninsula up there, up ahead. That might be a bit further, actually. I think it is a bit further. Now, so next waypoint at Donto, we want to be at 7250. So we'll program that in here in a few minutes once we've reached 10,800 feet. The one thing I could do is I could flip on our landing lights because we're going to be below 10,000 feet again shortly. And that way we don't have to remember that later. So let's see, 7250. I can't do the 50s in here. I don't know why it's got that. I'm just going to put 7200. And let's do some quick math. It looks like it's going to be... So what is that? That's 3,600 feet. And we'll find out in a minute here how much time we have, and then we can figure out what vertical speed we should set it to. So we might as well fly it as smooth as possible to give our fake passengers the smoothest ride that we can deliver. So our airport should be down there. That looks like there's some semblance of civilization there. We'll keep an eye on it here in a second, some more. To Donto, 4 minutes, so we want to go 3,000 feet in 4 minutes. What is that? 3,000 divided by 4 is 800, roughly. Let's descend by 800 feet per minute. That should get us down to where we want to be in time for us reaching Donto. And I'm thinking that looks like an airport down there somewhere. I see some flat, long things. That something there is a runway. Also looks like it's quite a large port, maybe? Or a number of ports. And then those little jutty things jutting out into the Gulf of Mexico, those look man-made to me. I know that our runway is runway 10. That's from my... Well, it's on our flight plan as well, because it's ILS 10. So it's basically going to be pretty much directly behind us. Check our altimeter to make sure we've got everything set right here. Okay, I actually want to see if I can scroll down a little bit further here. There we go. So I want to get the next one. So Romex 5,000, Charlie Foxtrot 10 at 4,000, and then basically that we should capture the glide slope at 4,000 feet somewhere. That will take us all the way down to runway 10, which is 283 feet. What are we at now? 9,300. We've got 2,000 to go. We have less than 2 minutes. I think we need to increase our vertical speed a little bit here so that we... Maybe my math was off a bit. I think I might have rounded the wrong way. I would always like to be lower, at a lower altitude sooner rather than later. Hey, I see you, whoever that is in the chat. B-Spars, it is tough with VR. If you're still in here and you still hear me, what do you use to see the chat in VR? Is there some magic thing that you're using, or is it's just a struggle for everybody? See, now I'm gonna have to pay attention and see. I probably already missed it. He's probably already gone, he or she. But that's okay. Quick check of the fuel. We're good. We'll be all right. Okay, so we're down to not quite as low as I want to be at. Romex, we want to be at 5,000 feet, so let's get that put in. How much time we got? 2 minutes to drop. Okay, well, we should be alright with 1,200 feet here. This is exactly, it's ironic that when I was talking about the fact that whenever I'm not able to see chat, somebody comes by. And it's usually somebody that I don't know. Which is too bad, because I'd like to say hi and welcome some new folks to my world tour here, but oh well, it is what it is. Oh, no, still in. Yeah, see, I've heard of, I've actually used OVR drop, but I don't like using Steam VR with my Oculus. I find it is terrible, or at least it was when I tried it. So I've had much more success using just the Oculus software and not any of the Steam VR stuff. Which is too bad, because for a little while there I was using virtual desktop in combination with SteamVR, and it was kind of working pretty well, quite slick, but unfortunately it didn't really last. The nice thing that I can do with the Oculus stuff is I can really tweak the settings. Yeah, I'm using an Oculus Quest 2. However, having said that, like I said, Oculus lets me put a chat window in here pretty easily. It's just it didn't work last time, and there's a couple of apps. So I was trying to use like an app called Chatty, which makes it easier than having to pop out like a browser window, but for some reason that didn't want to work, and it was just being a bit of a pain. So I built my own app to send Twitch chat messages into the flight simulator, and I think that actually, I don't know what I did there, but it was not working well for me. It made the sim freeze up a whole bunch. We're certainly doing quite the long loop around here on our approach. I feel like this is probably an approach designed for a larger airplane, but that's okay. Once we get to Romex, we'll descend down to 4,000, and I think at Romex we can activate our approach mode. If I remember correctly, Romex is part of the approach. Actually, I think we're already on our approach. Let's see if we can do that without it causing us any grief. Okay, so far so good. A lot of times when I activate approach mode, it wants to send me back home, or to like a previous waypoint. So I'm kind of hoping that after all the sort of VR issues I had earlier in the flight, that, you know, our autopilot and approach stuff at least will work smoothly, and so far so good. I love the little specks of dirt on the windshields. Okay, so this is when I get worried, because the line is no longer magenta. And I'm like, what did you do, approach mode? What did you do? But so far it seems okay still. I mean, it is saying that we are heading to Romex still. All these clouds, and we're lucky we're just like avoiding most of them. Okay, alright, let's put us on the correct path here. So we'll get down to 4,000, and then at some point hopefully we'll get into a glide slope. It's one thing I don't remember from having checked the charts. The sunlight right now coming in through this window and going off the displays, it's so beautiful. So beautiful. We're gonna go through one little rain cloud here, eh? Okay, so we're at 4,000, or almost 4,000. And what's weird is that all the way up until the last waypoint, it's we're staying at 4,000. Okay, well, we'll see about that. I mean, at some point we're going to have to slow down. I can see the runway lights already, though. That is a good sign. Way off in the distance there. Still flying. Okay, we've got a localizer, so that's a good thing. Now I do just wonder about the altitude, because I feel like we may have to do this ourselves here now, so let's go start our descent here. Oh, there is a glide slope there. Okay. So we actually probably would be okay. We should be able to capture this glide slope here. Because that green diamond is above us, which is good. We want to be always want to be below that diamond, so that as it comes down, it will take us with it. We've got one level of flaps. As soon as the glide slope grabs us, we're gonna go and deploy our landing gear. Let's just check our altimeter. We're good. This should be any moment now. That green diamond should turn magenta, and we should feel the airplane dip down. There it goes. It doesn't actually turn magenta, but it has us. It has us in its grasps. There we go. We get a nice view here of the coastline. There's lots of buildings here right by the water on the hillside. That's very cool. We don't really need any ATC stuff as long as we have this programmed in. It's just not quite as much fun because we don't get to talk to anybody on this approach. Quick look outside. That's pretty cool. Oh, look at those rain clouds. There are some larger buildings here now, even though some of those look like they're probably not quite accurately rendered there. Big blocks, maybe they are. Simon Boulevard, what did I say? San Boulevard? For some reason, Simon Boulevard International. On final approach, runway 10. Jeez, I just looked down at my rudder pedals, but all I see is the ones in the aircraft, of course. Silly me. Let me roll my chair forward a little bit. Okay, what I really want here is I want the hand on the autopilot because I gotta turn that off here in a second. Man, this is a pretty cool approach. Look at that. Look at those all those small buildings. That is exactly what I was expecting from Venezuela. These South American countries. All those small, colorful buildings on the hillside. It's really cool. Alright, autopilot off. Firm landing. Alright, well, firm is not too bad. Oh, we still get applause for a firm landing? Alright. I'll take it. I will take it. See, it's that kind of message that I had the Twitch messages going into, but it was just causing nothing but problems. For some reason. So again, we don't have ATC here or anything, so we're just going to find ourselves a parking spot. We're going to find ourselves a gate. This is a decent-sized airport. Let's see, does anything here look like general aviation parking? Probably over by those terminals there, but we're not going to go that far. We're just going to grab a spot right in front of us here. I don't need to go further than is absolutely necessary. We'll go get her parked right over here. One of the big gates. It's absolutely not where we're supposed to park, but that's where we're gonna go. Look at the mountain, the hillside. It's beautiful. I can't wait to take off from here and see where we go next. I'm not actually sure where we go from here. I know we go further west along Central America's coast. So, that does it. I have no idea what the start of this video is going to look like. It's probably just going to be me starting just after the takeoff, I think, unfortunately. I don't think I'll be able to go back. But that will do it. Let's see if I can get this thing shut off. And I can never actually get the throttle over. So, cut off the fuel. Close the fuel valve. There we go. That does it. An hour and a half flight. Thanks for stopping by. Anybody that did, take care of yourselves.